The opening tip-off, USC and Iowa from the Iowa Fieldhouse. Back with the starting lineups in just a moment.
Says.
And forward for the Trojans from Southern Cal, a 6'8" sophomore from Huntington Beach, California, number 52, Wayne Carlander. And forward for the Hawks, a 6'7" senior from Iowa City, Regina, number 44, from Long Beach, California, number 33, James McDonald. And forward for the Hawks, a 6'11" sophomore from Quincy, Illinois, number 42, Michael Payne. For the Southern Cal Trojans, a 6'10" sophomore from Laguna Hills, California, number 55, Clayton Olivier. And at center for the Hawks, a 6'10" sophomore from
Crowd of better than 13,000 on hand here at the Iowa Fieldhouse for the introduction of the starting lineups now as we're about to get this game underway. Take a look at the starting lineups. Iowa with a front five that is all averaging in double figures. Mark Gannon, Michael Payne, Greg Stokes, Steve Carfino, and Bob Hansen. And the USC Trojans, Wayne Carlander, McDonald, Clayton Olivier, Cedric Bailey, and Jack Hill.
a 6'2" senior from Los Angeles, California.
Iowa is 5-0. SC
And
is 5-2 coming in off a very impressive victory against San Jose State on Thursday night by a score of 71-54. In fact, in that game, they set a school record by hitting 71% of their field goal attempts, so they can shoot it.
Well, and I think another important point to make, Jock Hill in that game had his career-high 18 points. I think you can look for him to be a little more aggressive offensively now. He's always been a good driver and a passer. Look for him to pull up and take the shot a little more often.
The officials of the ball game, Big Ten officials, Phil Robinson of Midlothian, Illinois, Phil Bova, who is from North Olmsted, Ohio, and Dick Vester, who is from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Hey, the Big Ten is off to a great start this year in non-conference play, counting Indiana's victory over Eastern Michigan last night. They're now 43-4.
Well, of course, those things are also relative, who you're playing, those types of things, but I think it's pretty legitimate. I think the Big Ten's a lot stronger than most people have given them credit for this year. There was, I think, though, too, in the next the next couple of weeks anyway, most of the teams are going to be playing their toughest non-conference foes, so we should get a little bit more better idea exactly the strength of the teams in the Big Ten. Incidentally, one final already in. Kentucky has beaten Illinois.
And beat them big.
They did. Kentucky's going to be a lot of people big this year.
And Kentucky will be high in our CBS coaches poll, which we'll have for you at halftime of this ball game. Carlander will jump center for USC against Michael Payne. Here we go. Hansen controlling the tip was Olivier jumping center instead of Carlander, pardon me. So Carlander is listed in that pivot a good deal of the time. Iowa simply shot lights out against Marquette the other night. They were almost perfect. Stokes has it ripped out of his hands. Gannon comes up with it. You watch Carfino, you're going to see one of the finest point guards in the country. Stokes missing. Rebound, easy shot for Gannon.
Well, before I even had a chance to talk about it, I believe one of the keys in the ball game today is going to be USC's ability to handle the big people inside. On that exchange alone, I got 3 chances at the basket. I also saw something, and I was interested to see. The little bit that I've seen Stokes play, he's always turning to his left to shoot the shot. On that baseline jumper, he turned to his right, shot the jump shot. So I think that's going to, I would generally try to force Stokes to his left.
Bailey from deep in the corner, missing. Gannon pulls it down and gets it down quickly. Iowa will run on you at every opportunity. Gannon looking inside. Michael Payne. Yes. Little local knowledge, perhaps, of the rims.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Iowa team is so strong at every position. Lute Olson told us this is potentially the best team he's ever had. And for the first time, they are capable of scoring from every single position. In an earlier game this season, I believe it was against BYU, they had 3 people over the 20-point mark. The first time that's ever happened in Lou Henson's reign here with the Hawkeyes.
Iowa leading 4-0 in the early going. Stan Morrison up on his feet, shouting something to his point guard, Jock Hill. Hill being counted on to score a lot more this year. Last year, he took an average of just 5 shots per game. But they need his point production because they lost 2 pretty good players.
In the opening, you asked about the point total. Certainly to USC's advantage to have a lower scoring ball game. For them to win, I believe it's got to be in the 60s. But right here, it's Iowa's advantage to force play. You can see USC with the crowd becoming a part of the game. They're just slowing it down.
Traveling on Olivier. And USC finally turns it over without getting a shot away.
Stan Morrison told me that he thought the first 5-6 minutes were going to be so important. They've got to get a basket from somebody to start the game, break the ice. I don't think you're going to play in many louder buildings than what you'll play in when you play in front of the Iowa Hawkeye fans.
Spoken like a man who's been here before.
Yes.
And out on the court. Nice move to the inside. It hangs in the rim and drops through for Stokes. 6'10" Greg Stokes from Hamilton, Ohio.
There are a number of good big men in the country this year. Certainly one basketball publication on the cover called it Centers of Attention. I don't think there's a team in the country, Frank, that has 2 big people of the quality and talent that Iowa has, and Michael Payne and Greg Stokes.
Foul is on Carfino, the first personal foul of the game. And USC will inbound it. This game now is 2.5 minutes old. They haven't scored. Now they have, as McDonald muscles his way up for the hoop underneath.
Well, this is completely inexcusable. No pick on the play, and McDonald snuck underneath. And the key was he jumped very quickly and got the ball on the board before the defense could react.
Michael Payne picks up the personal foul. That's the team's second foul. And McDonald, who started as a sophomore and was the 6th man last year, won his starting position back this year. Very physical basketball player.
Interesting enough, a lot of teams have been zoning USC, and USC has operated better offensively against the zone. And in fact, you wouldn't believe this, but they actually get more inside baskets off the zone than they do man-to-man.
Beautiful fadeaway jumper by Bob Hansen. Hansen averaging 16 points per game. Coming off a foot injury last year and really coming on strong for his senior year. He's the Hawkeye co-captains.
In the past couple years, Iowa has had so many injuries. That's got to be their concern this year with the bench.
Nice dish off underneath to Carlander, who gets the basket with a fine assist from Jock Hill, who did the penetrating. So SC is right back in this game. Hansen with the jumper. Good sky job there by McDonald. Kicks it out quickly. 8-5, Iowa leading. USC trailed a moment ago 6-0, so they've gotten back quickly. Iowa doing a lot of fouling here.
Well, typically a USC ball game is going to you're going to see a lot of fouls. USC is shooting an average of 27.5 foul shots per game. However, they're only making 55% of them.
Again, a nice pass underneath. The tip by Olivier is in. Olivier scores for the USC Trojans to make it an 8-7 ball game. Iowa leading.
That is so inexcusable when you're playing you play a zone defense, Frank, off the inbounds pass to force people away from the basket. Without a pick, McDonald has gotten free inside twice already.
Stokes with the jumper. Lute Olson told us yesterday he could not believe how much that youngster improved his game, starting with the end of last season. And this year, there was no way they could keep him out of the lineup. You got 2 guys like Payne and Stokes at 6'11 and 6'10, and you've really got something. They're as good a 2-man, big-man combination as you'll find anywhere in the country. 10-7.
And interestingly enough, I think already you've seen Stokes make 3 different types of moves in this ball game, just to give you an indication they can do everything. Baseline jumper on the left, baseline jumper right. He also put it on the floor and went to the hoop for 2 points.
Here's Steve Carfino. Carfino is an interesting story, too, because he almost went to USC, where his brother was an outstanding star. In fact, he's the number 7 all-time leading scorer. Stokes. 3 buckets for Stokes in the early going, and Iowa leads at 12-7.
Frank, Stokes has improved to the point where now at Iowa, they will tell you, as Stokes goes, so goes the team.
Pretty good compliment. Shot missed by Jock Hill on the outside. Rebound torn down by Gannon. Gets it down to Carfino. Gannon and Hansen both shoot well from the wings. They killed Marquette the other night. Stokes loses it. Olivier comes up with it.
Well, you can hear the crowd get a little excited. They felt like it might have been double dribble. However, Olivier bounced the ball trying to gain control, so he still had his dribble left.
Shot rejected by Wayne Carlander. And again, Iowa roars down the court. Hansen dribbling into the corner. Hansen, along with Gannon, both members of the 1980 team, which went to the Final Four. Shot missed by Carfino. And Jock Hill starts the break. Gets down the court quickly on Hansen. Looks for help. Well, couldn't take the shot there. McDonald had the open shot. Instead, Carlander puts it up.
Carlander was such a great scorer in high school. When he came to UC as a freshman last year, scored primarily from inside. However, he has been given the green light from 18 feet now, and as you can see, very capable of making that shot.
And a very consistent basketball player. Payne on top goes to Stokes. Stokes with the turnaround. Payne is there to get it. Michael Payne from Quincy, Illinois. 6'11" sophomore.
Well, the mistake there made by Olivier, as soon as the ball went inside, he turned his head, watched the shot. Payne made that pass almost from the top of the key. The shot went up. He went unmolested to the basket for the follow-up.
Just under 14 minutes left to play in the first half. 14-9, Iowa. McDonald. Iowa being very patient with its offense. Or the USC, I should say.
Well, they will be. I mean, they have to take very, very high percentage shots in this ball game if they're going to win. Marquette came in here, took a lot of outside perimeter shots. You won't beat the Hawkeyes in this building with that type of an offense.
Cedric Bailey, good shooter if he can get the shot away, but Stokes is all over him. Well, for a moment, they might call the jump ball there, but...
Well, they got into a situation there where they didn't have a release man. They had the ball in the corner. He picked up his dribble. As soon as you pick up the dribble, Iowa will trap you and overplay. They didn't have an outlet, though.
Olivier with the fake inside tries to go up with the reverse. And it's last touch by Olivier. Good defense that time by Mark Gannon, who Lute Olson describes as the best defensive forward he's ever had.
All right, well, this is what Iowa was going to do the entire game. And really, the key here is, did you see what a great pass that was? There wasn't much room to get it through there. Therein lies the key to their offense. Great passers inside.
12:59 left in the first half. Iowa leading 14-9. Last week, Kentucky senior forward Derek Horde was the recipient of the Chevrolet MVP Award for his 26-point, 7-rebound game against Villanova. Near the conclusion of every CBS Sports NCAA basketball game, Steve and I will be selecting the Chevrolet player of the game, and in case we disagree, our producer Dave Denkins will cast the deciding vote. 14-9, Iowa leading. The Big Ten is playing the three-point rule this year from 21 feet out, but it is not in use in this game.
Right.
That hurts Iowa, I would think.
I would think so. I think anytime you, especially for USC, none of these players have ever played here. So I think that it's to their advantage to not have the three-point goal. Iowa playing in their home building, much more familiar with the surroundings.
USC has gone with the first substitution, Gerry Wright, number 3, who's a freshman and a great leaper. Shot missed by Gannon from the corner.
Got foul on Payne going over the back.
That's 2 on him.
You know, the tallest team doesn't always have to be the better rebounding team and win the battle on the boards. However, you saw right there with the great jumping ability, sometimes that just can't be helped. The key, obviously, to block people off the board as soon as
Gerry Wright, who you saw a moment ago, should be an interesting freshman lot. He's got one of the best nicknames I think I've heard in quite a while, Sir Jam-a-Lot. He can really go upstairs.
Well, I would think in this ball game, he's going to be a big key because with his leaping ability and size, he's the one player on the USC squad that could possibly neutralize the big people inside.
USC looking for the good shot. Cedric Bailey, who is from New Orleans, Louisiana, working the outside along with the veteran Jock Hill. Bailey. That would have been a three-pointer. Payne skies to grab the rebound. Takes it off the window down to Carfino. Stokes, Payne from the free throw line. Yes. He's tough.
See, Frank, the key to Iowa, you know, the difference between good big people and bad big people so often lies in their ability to control the ball, not simply on the dribble, but their ability to catch and pass. Where you've got Gannon 6'8", Stokes and Payne at 6'10", you've got 3 excellent passes. and that's why they're so tough in that triangle pass offense in the lane area.
Good penetration by Jacques Hill, who gets his first basket of the game. He led the team last year in steals and minutes in assists. They're not going to try a basketball player. Inside the
See what I mean about Wright. He can get up.
He intimidated Stokes that time, and it changed the trajectory on his hook shot. Wright trying to get loose for the shot. See if they call it on Stokes or on the man who was flooding him, Hansen. It is on Hansen.
Incidentally, Frank, you know that Gerry Wright has scored 5 baskets this year, all 5 on dunks.
Interesting note. Michael Payne now and Bob Hansen both with 2 personal fouls. Timeout here in Iowa City.
We have officials timeout.
Frank, I want to take a look at this replay once again. Here you see Stokes gets the pass, goes up. This is Gerry Wright for the Trojans. Take a look. I think he's going to be the next superstar in USC basketball. The kid is has great physical talent. They really think he's going to be a player of the future, and especially in this ball game, being outsized inside so much, he could be the guy that possibly off the bench could keep the Trojans in the ball game.
He's a 6'8" freshman. There's the SC coach, Stan Morrison. Stan has done an outstanding job now in his 4th year. Got the club to the NCAA and took a dip after doing so. They lost their first game to Wyoming. 16-11. Andre Banks has come in for Iowa, the first substitute for the Hawkeyes. He's just a freshman. Number 14, Jacques Hill. Turnaround jumper. Wright has it rejected.
Gerry found out he can also have his shot.
That's right. Goes the other way, too. Banks lost it, but right into the hands of Stokes. Outside to Steve. Carfino drives the lane and doesn't get it.
This is the mistake that one of the types of mistakes Carfino made early in his career. He generally got going a little bit too fast. He would lose the ball on a dribble. Has not been noted for his ball handling abilities, although I think those are improving. But you see, he gets a little carried away every once in a while, goes in the lane, leaves his feet. The USC people stand in and take the charge.
Carfino probably pressing a little bit. He knows a lot of his friends looking on back in California. He's coming back home next week with Iowa when they play UCLA. And, of course, his brother was a big star at SC. He actually made a verbal commitment to go to SC and changed his mind, said he liked Iowa better. And he's turned into an outstanding point guard, just a junior. Pass inside to Carlander, puts it up with the left hand. Stokes has it knocked out of his hands by Wright, and a foul is called on Wright. By the way, Iowa now has 6 fouls, 1 more, and SC will be in the bonus for the remainder of the first half.
First team foul on Southern Cal.
That's the first foul on Southern Cal. A little bit unusual with the almost 50% of the first half gone. Payne looking inside to Gannon. How are you going to stop that?
You know, Gannon's probably the kid that benefits the most from Stokes becoming a player now, because he can now at 6'8" move to his natural forward spot. He gets to shoot the ball outside a little bit more, and he is a very good shooter.
Stokes with the steal, knocked the ball away. Payne wrestling with Carlander, and they'll jump it up.
In the past, Gannon hasn't had a chance to take a clear look at the basket all the time. He's been inside. You see a little bit of the defense, a little too much help from the guard, and USC comes up with it.
Alternate possession rule goes to USC this time around. Hill gets it out of the court to James McDonald, 6'5" senior.
You've got to be impressed with USC's ability to get the ball inside. They've been a little intimidated. Carlander should have made his last layup, but they've been patient, and they have. They've gotten good shots against the Iowa zone.
They've not taken the bad shot at all. Gerry Wright inside. Carlander right back at him. McDonald with the next one. Traveling on SC. Substitution for Southern Cal. Ron Holmes comes into the game.
I'm glad we're getting a look at this. We have the official block in the way. Once again, now the USC people have got to get in there and shoot a little bit of a fadeaway. They've taken it in and they've gone at the big people. They haven't been successful though. It's time to fade away a little bit and shoot that little jumper. You get 3 or 4 blocked, you've got to change your methods a little bit.
Hansen comes back into the game for Iowa, replacing Banks. As we said, Ron Holmes, who was redshirted last year by Stan Morrison, came into the game for SC. We get a whistle and a foul called on SC.
Now, Ron Holmes just checking in the ball game. So often a guy comes in off the bench. You see him foul in the first 15, 20 seconds. That's usually the way they get themselves into the ball game. Fortunately, it doesn't hurt them at this point in the game. 9 minutes to play. That's just their second team foul.
What do you think of the Big Ten going to three-point rule?
Well, I think this, Frank, I don't mind rewarding the talent of shooting a three-point goal. However, I think it should be cut off at half court. I think anything beyond half court is purely luck, and I think it's going to be a 2-point field goal.
8 points for Greg Stokes, and the 9-point lead enjoyed by Iowa is their biggest lead of the afternoon so far. Just under 9 minutes left to play. Capacity crowd roaring its approval. Payne with the steal down to Carfino. Works it to Gannon. Gannon playing catch with Stokes. Takes the shot finally. McDonald clears it off the window for USC. Down to Jacques Hill.
Well, you can see that when you play Iowa, you better be ready to play 40 minutes of pressure, fast-paced basketball.
Wayne Carlander, the 6'8 sophomore, and one of the leading scorers in California high school history with that basket for SC. Hansen missing from the corner, and Gannon there with the offensive board to put it back up. Lute Olson, the head coach.
That was a look of a content man, I believe.
I think so. Olson is now in his 9th year, and 4 years ago, he had an opportunity to take the SC job and came very close to going to Southern California.
You take a look at the shot that Hansen just put up. I guess with the weaker bench this year, Hansen's probably the kid that benefits most from that because he plays better when he knows he's the man. Last year when he was a freshman, we'll go into it when we come back.
7 minutes, 46 seconds left to play in the first half. SC calls timeout, trailing 22-13. Well, what you're looking at, Steve, represents 44 points per game they lost last year.
Yeah, well, that's very, very tough to replace. But I think that's even more important to the fans because when the kids on the floor are just playing the game, they adjust very well. I could tell you for sure that the guys on the USC team with the transfer Kent Johnson, that hasn't affected them a bit. They're just out there playing basketball. Life goes on, and they've been improving every week. So I think that's the important thing.
SC in a very deliberate offense. Once they get that ball in the front court, they'll try to run, but if they can't, they'll take their time. Jacques Hill having problem getting the shot away. Hansen with the rebound. Now this team can run. Carfino couldn't hit it from outside. Now here's SC. Look at their break on a 2-on-2, and Hill glides in, charging.
Well, you see USC will get the ball right out and run right back at you. Let's take a look at the charge. That's close. That's close. Chance for you to put on the whistle and make the call yourself. Once again,
Olson has got a performance chart that he uses for his team, and one of the highest number of points he gives is if you take a charge.
Well, and you know who came out the leader when they put all the statistics together, gave out the points for performances. It was Gannon at the forward position who came out ranked #1.
Carfino moves the ball very well. A real leader on the floor, trying to get it inside to the big man Payne. And he is fouled by Carlander.
He talked about the Carfino situation with his brother at USC, he committing, wanting to play well with the game going back to the California area. So often those things work in reverse. I know it's the biggest fear coaches have when they go into a kid's hometown to play a school. So sometimes they press so much and want to play so well, the exact opposite happens. They don't have a good game.
Hansen, beautiful touch by 6'6" senior Bob Hansen gets his second basket.
Started to talk about him prior to the last timeout. As a freshman, when Ronnie Lester went down with an injury and Hansen knew that he was going to be the starting guard, that's when he played his best. Once again now with the bench not being as strong, he knows he's the #1 guard, and I think he's going to play much better because of it.
Olivier has it rejected back in his face. Carfino brings it down, and he has it swatted away on a fine block by James McDonald. So a couple of excellent blocks on both ends of the court. Holmes on the layup, almost missed for a moment like that, but come back out again.
Jacques Hill at his best right there, penetration. USC probably has 4 players now who see the floor better than anybody else. They've never had that combination before.
Bob Hansen hitting the shot, going down hard on the floor, but he appears to be all right.
Let's take a look at some of the action underneath the boards. Now that's, I couldn't tell if there was a foul there or not. Here you see the next block by Carfino. But you know what happens so often? When a guy goes up to take a shot, if the defender blocks it nice and easy, they usually let it go. Anytime a defender takes a big slap at it and rejects it the way Stokes did, they usually blow the whistle. That time he got away with it.
Blocking shots, as you saw by that graphic, has been an Iowa specialty this year. These two guys do an outstanding job inside. 26-15, Iowa leading. Holmes, yes, beautiful. 6'5" sophomore Ron Holmes.
Well, you can see that USC's not going to back down. They're face-to-face, man-to-man defense. They're taking it to them offensively. I don't know if they have enough talent to win the game.
Payne with the turnaround. Now that they keep shooting like that, Payne's got 4 baskets. Stokes has got 4 baskets. And Lute Olson sees his team up by 11 points right now.
Well, it's very possible that good teams will come into this building, play well, and still get beat.
They won't come into this building because it's the last one they're playing in. The new building opens up their first Big Ten game, their next home game, which is against Michigan State in January. Iowa's on the road for the rest of December. Another thing for USC, this is the 5th road game in their first 6 games this year. Turnaround missed by Olivier. And Hansen clears it off the glass. Good outlet pass to Carfino. Hansen in the corner fakes the shot over Holmes. Nice turnaround. Nothing but air. Jock Hill. One-man break for USC. Carfino got in his way. And Steve Carfino picks up his 3rd personal foul. Let's see if Olson will go to the bench.
Well, and you call it, Frank. It's a one-man break. They're getting when they get the rebounds, they're hitting the outlet very well, but the people aren't filling in the lanes. Now, Iowa does a great job of getting back on defense, but you've got to have 3 people on the break to make it go. There you see now, USC is a little bit different than some teams. He's pretty much the ball handler on the team, and when they get the rebound, they're going to look for Jock Hill every single time. You would prefer to have a couple ball handlers so that you can get the rebound, hit the outlet, and whichever guard is on the opposite side of the floor, fill the middle.
Holmes after the rebound, following the missed shot, and he is hacked. So Jock Hill misses the free throw, but Holmes doing a good job of hustling underneath.
Foul is charged to Greg Stokes.
That's one on Stokes. His first.
2 men.
2 shots for Holmes.
Well, you can see when USC gets the ball inside, they're taking it right back up at the big men. Certainly getting them in foul trouble, what they're hoping to do.
SC has had its free throw shooting problems this year. They've had a tough time at the line. It's hurt them.
You know that they're only shooting 57% on the year. They've shot 137 free throws, just over 27 a game. They've made just 78. Their opponents have only shot 105 and have made 76.
Well, Iowa has taken Payne out. All they have to put in for him is another 7-footer, Brad Lohaus, who is from Glendale, Arizona.
Of course, he went head-to-head with Mr. Allery, the freshman down there at Duke out there in Arizona during his senior year. Lohaus, similar to Stokes last year, things just aren't coming naturally for him yet, but he's got a lot of ability, runs the floor well, very well coordinated for a big fellow.
Stokes looking for help, finally gets it to Wayman King, and Jock Hill almost came up with a steal. To Gannon deep in the corner, and he'll fire that thing from the 3-point range, or close to it. Gannon trying to penetrate. Seat. Holmes.
Well, Holmes had his hand on his hip, preventing him from making progress down the lane. I guess if the one question mark for Iowa is at the point guard position. Birkenpass is a sophomore on scholarship. King is a walk-on senior. Up to this point in time, Wayman King has just played better. That's the only reason why he's ahead of Birkenpass.
Hansen missing, and Holmes there to grab the rebound, and Holmes certainly has been a factor for SC since he's come into the game. He's played hard on both ends of the floor. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first half. 28-19, Iowa. Bailey is an excellent shooter if they can get him open. Number 15 for SC. That's Bailey on top from the 3-point area. Rebound. couldn't get it. USC couldn't get it down, and Iowa comes up with the rebound. Again, the three-point line is out there on the floor, but it is not being used in this game. It will be in regular Big Ten competition. The Pac-10 is not using it. Stokes missing, but Iowa doing a great job on the offensive board.
Boy, oh boy, I don't think this is a very good call. You see, Hansen made a little spin dribble, was going to shoot the jump shot, and got bumped out of bounds, and they're going to give the ball to USC. Let's take a look at it. There you see the rebound comes a little bit off. Hansen is a great leaper. You know, he's averaging over 6 rebounds per game. Now watch this. He gets bodied right there. The ball goes off his foot, hits the official. It's out of bounds anyway.
Timeout with 3:07 left in the first half. Iowa leading SC 28-19. You know, one interesting thing that Lute Olson pointed out to us yesterday when we talked to him, he said that since 1977, 93% of his basketball players have graduated. And of course, there's been some adverse publicity around the country about kids not graduating.
Well, it's like
been a great program.
Yeah, it's like anything else. You only hear about the bad apples. There are many true student athletes in the country. Certainly, they haven't gotten the attention they deserve.
28-19. Iowa leading, just under 3 minutes left to play. Cedric Bailey, who hasn't been able to get loose for the good shot. Hill has it knocked out of his hands, but Ron Holmes maintains possession.
You've got to be impressed with the quick hands all the Iowa players have on defense. They've blocked a number of shots. They've come up with some loose balls. They've knocked it away. Frank, they are Final Four caliber.
I believe Iowa-Indiana would be rather interesting to watch this year.
I would think so.
Holmes missing from the corner. And Bailey reaching over. Number 44, Mark Gannon.
We may want to take a look at the shot chart at halftime, Frank, but I'm going to be interested to see if USC has made a shot from the perimeter. Certainly, if they could get a hot hand, you would expect it to come from Cedric Bailey, their best outside shooter. However, in the Iowa zone, they will play the ball man-to-man, so you will very seldom get that wide-open jump shot, even though they are in the zone defense.
Wayman King, who is filling in right now for Carfinos on the sidelines with 3 personal fouls. Hansen, Brad Lohaus, the 7-footer, spotted Gannon underneath, and Gannon was fouled.
I think it's Holmes again. We're in a position where if any of the coaching staff stands up, we don't see. Let's take a look at it. Now look, now you've got Lohaus, a 7-foot freshman at the point, and he pinpoints his pass right into Gannon. You saw the defender got posted up a little bit, tried to get around front, fouled in the process.
I was asking Lute Olson yesterday, how in the world you find Lohaus in Arizona and persuade him to come up here? He said he had a trainer down there, used to work up here by the name of Bill Brown, and he saw the youngster, wrote Lute, and they started recruiting him early, and darned if they didn't get him.
Well, he made a good point, too. Any athlete will always remember the first school that contacts
them. That's a good point.
I remember the first team.
Who was it?
William and Mary.
Why did you go to Michigan then?
Well, that's a long story. I went there for the education, Frank. I got it. Believe it or not.
30-19. Iowa taking the lead at the outset and never giving it up. 2 minutes left to play in the first half. Jack Hill looking for an opening. King guarding it very closely.
And Stan Morrison on the side here, close enough that we can hear him yelling, move, move. The mistake so many teams make it in that zone, they'll stand still. You got to have great ball movement and great personnel movement to beat the zone.
To Bailey inside, and Bailey had people all over him, trying to force the shot. Fortunately, Olivier is there to grab the rebound. Now, Bailey had no business taking that shot. It turned out pretty good. Hansen almost went out of bounds with it.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's been some contact they've left go in this ball game.
You know, you can't buy a ticket to an Iowa basketball game. Even in the new arena, it seats better than 15,000. It is completely sold out before it even opens.
Well, you know, they've got very little competition here. There are no pro teams. There's only 2 major. There's no real big drawing card anywhere else in this area. Even for wrestling matches, they'll get 8,000 to 9,000 people.
It's a big month for the Hawkeyes. They'll be in the Peach Bowl, of course, in Atlanta on CBS. Lohaus missing. That'll be coming up on New Year's Eve. Iowa Hawkeyes of Hayden Fry have done an outstanding job this year. 30-21. 1 minute.
USC is in this ball game. They need a jump shot.
Need a couple of baskets for sure. Bailey there for the rebound. Bailey won't go for him.
Well, you know something? I think that was a charge, but I think if Gannon would have held his ground and not given it such a theatrical performance, I think he'd have got the call.
Lohaus with the fadeaway jumper gets air. Here comes SC with a chance to trim it to 7.
Excuse me, I haven't seen many games with as much action and as few number of points scored.
Slapped out of bounds. It belongs to SC. They're flying up and down the court.
People are getting after it.
There's bodies flying everywhere.
This is quite a game. I think going in at halftime, although USC's down 9 or 7, depending on what happens here, they'll hold for the last shot. They have got to be pleased with their performance.
15 seconds left in the half. 30-21. SC playing for the last shot. Bailey in the corner. He's their outstanding outside shooter. Hill, 7 seconds. Bailey from deep in the corner, short. Rebound, Carlander. Won't go. That's it.
Boy, oh boy, if they miss some close-in shots, they could be tied up.
Ball is hanging on the rim, but it won't fall for SC. And they're still very much in this basketball game. That's the end of the first half. With the score, Iowa 30, USC 21. Coming up at halftime, a look at the Virginia problem when we come back to the Big Ten is I have to listen to you tell me how many points you scored in each arena.
Hey, let me tell you, they didn't treat me very nicely up here, but I played pretty well. I had 28 as a freshman in this building.
Time for the CBS Coaches Poll. And, of course, this is the poll we do every week that is selected by 20 of the top college coaches in the nation. We break it down for you geographically, and this is our panel of experts. They vote once a week, and the end result is the CBS Coaches Poll, courtesy of the National Association of Basketball Coaches. And this week's poll starts off with Virginia in the #1 position. And, of course, as we're all aware, Virginia and Georgetown meet tonight.
That's just the most exciting college basketball game that's taken place since Alcindor and Hayes went head-to-head. I guess my feeling on that game is if it's a physical game.
In the #6 position, undefeated. They won big last night.
Well, anytime you talk about Indiana, Frank, you tell the same story. You just plug in different names. This year, however, they've got all 5 starters back. Probably experience more than so many other things important in college basketball. There you see, I've been with him at center right now. Uwe Blop, of course, the big 7-footer, who started to look like he was going to come on and play well. Not doing so, having such a good year so far.
Iowa, you're seeing here this afternoon. Houston, very strong. Iowa leading USC 30-21. CBS coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this word from your local station. Score of 30-21, and my man, Mr. Grody, has been looking over his shot chart here. And anything come out of it here that?
Well, that's a good question because I don't know that it necessarily tells us anything, but I think in this ball game it does. You take a look at the bottom here.
Had 18 points the other night against San Jose State.
Well, obviously Bailey has got to come up with some outside jump shots.
Except for Carfino, great balance for Iowa.
Well, and he's got 3 fouls, and you know, I thought he played a decent first half, but once again, times you press, wanting to play well against a backyard rival, and these kind of things happen, but they can hurt you at every position.
Carfino has come back into the game after sitting out the latter stages of the first half with 3 fouls. Carfino will bring it down from Bellflower, California.
And, of course, remember now, USC controlled the opening tip, so Iowa will get the ball to start the second half.
Stokes at the top to Carfino, guarded closely by Jock Hill. Carfino missing the shot. Carfino had a big night scoring against Marquette, but Iowa manages to hang on and sets it up again.
And you said the key thing right there. They set it back up. They got the ball at the foul line extended. The big guys were smart enough to throw it back out to the guards and get things going.
Stokes missing, rebounded by Olivier, and the foul is on Stokes. And that's 2 on him. Greg Stokes from Hamilton, Ohio, in the Cincinnati area, one of the great high school players 2 years ago in Ohio.
Here you see Stokes, you know, is capable of making all the different moves inside. He missed once, and then aggressiveness. That's usually where he gets into foul trouble. He is a little over-aggressive at times, but that's the best way to get fouled.
Inside to Olivier. Nice move, and Olivier gets the basket. If SC starts hitting any kind of percentage shots at all, they're in this game.
Well, they're in it right now. It's only 7 points.
Hansen looking for help outside, goes to Gannon. Hansen answers. Bob Hansen with his 4th basket, 6'6" senior.
Boy, he's got a nice-looking jump shot, doesn't he?
He really does. For a guy, too, you figure as big as he is.
He's 6'6". He jumps surprisingly well. He jumps well enough that he's playing forward in the 2-3 zone right now.
Carlander drops it inside. Bailey with the open shot. Well, he finally broke the ice.
That was a great pass. So often when a big man turns like that, he'll charge like Hansen tried to take on him. He turned, saw the guy out of the corner of his eye, popped it right back outside. Bailey made the shot they need him to make in the second half.
Payne with the turnaround, missing, and Olivier asserts his authority. Under the board, Olivier coming up with another big rebound. Down he walked quickly in a traveling call called on McDonald.
He walked. All right, see now here's what happens when you got shot blockers inside. Olivier makes the great head fake. Both guys go up in the air. He gets the basket.
Carfino, the inbound pass down to Hansen, return to Carfino. Carfino is a real floor leader out there. I mean, he's a yell type leader. Tried to work the alley-oop a little bit low that time.
USC needs a basket right here. Yeah, they don't need it. It would just be nice to get one.
SC going into that deliberate offense. Bailey in the corner. Stokes moves out on him.
I started to say in the half with Hill, Bailey, Carlander, and McDonald. They've got 4 guys who see the floor very well. It's the first time they've had that luxury at USC with so many people on the floor that can see it and make the pass.
Jock Hill penetrating inside. And Hill.
Yeah, that was a great move, and I also thought it was a great decision on the official's part. So often when you see a man make a fake fadeaway move like that, they automatically blow the whistle thinking he traveled, but he did not. He held his pivot foot.
Mark Gannon drilling that basket from the corner for the Iowa Hawkeyes to make it 34-27.
What a luxury when you've got a 6'8" forward who can get you a basket from 25 feet now and then.
Olivier with the open shot, short, intimidated by Stokes.
It was tipped, actually, too.
Carfino down quickly, 20-footer. Carfino having a tough time finding the rim. And Hill again slows it down for SC.
Well, and Hansen made the play. Hill's got the speed to take the ball all the way to the basket, even when he's outnumbered on the break. He's done it earlier in the game. You see Hansen cuts him off, makes him slow it down. Defense gets set.
Carlander down to the floor. Bailey comes up with it, saves it. Good play. Traveling, went up with it, came down with it. That negated a great defensive play by Carlander on the floor.
Now remember, Olivier's had a foot injury. He basically has not played much for the last 2 years. They were concerned starting the game that he may be a little tense with the big crowd, what have you. He has showed more signs being a little more shook up right now starting the second half than he did the first half.
He's getting the rest right now. He was a starter as a freshman 2 years ago, hurt his foot after a couple of games, and then missed all of that season and virtually all of last year. They gave him an extra year eligibility because he played so little last year.
He actually had his heel completely reconstructed.
It's a Bill Walton type of injury. Same type of thing Walton had with the stress fracture. Hansen is fouled by Cedric Bailey.
Now, this is not a good foul. You got Hansen shooting a fadeaway jump shot from about 16, 17 feet. Not a high percentage shot. However, when you have a guy like Hansen who's made some jumpers throughout the course of the game, you tend to pressure him a little bit more.
Bob Hansen, Iowa's second leading scorer, averaging 16 points per game. He's the real money player and a member of the 1980 team, which went to the Final Four. They lost a couple of good ball players. We talked about the people SC has lost. They lost Kevin Boyle. They lost Kenny Arnold. Boyle started every game for 4 years. Arnold, a 3-year starter. So they've got some people to replace.
And of course, Boyle will go down in history as one of the all-time great inspirational leaders, not only for Iowa, but in all of basketball. He really brought that squad together.
Iowa back with a 9-point lead that they enjoyed at halftime. 16 minutes remaining here at the Iowa Fieldhouse in Iowa City.
It's so important for USC in this half not to let Iowa get a run going. They can't afford 3 baskets in a row.
Gerry Wright, the freshman, with a bad pass, trying to force it inside. And it looked like Carlander picked up the foul. Let's see what they call it on. Nope. They called it the other way.
Well, there's some confusion right now. Lute Olson isn't very happy.
Now they're calling it on Iowa.
Well, I don't know if I thought all along the foul was on Iowa.
It's on Payne, and that's 3 for Payne. He's got 3. Carfino has got 3. And we've got a timeout with 15 minutes and 47 seconds left to play in the game. Iowa leading USC 36-27.
Oregon State off to a slow start, but they should play well once the conference comes around.
Jock Hill with the inbounds pass to Carlander, and Hill quickly out on top again. Hill is a 4-year starter. First player recruited by head coach Stan Morrison, and he has been a nugget. Again, SC with the deliberate offense, looking for the good shot.
Let me tell you, they are banging around inside. Olivier and Carlander are tough kids. They'll back down from no one. Certainly Carlander's had his skirmishes in the past.
Olivier with a good touch on an 8-foot jumper, the 6'10 sophomore, gets his 4th bucket of the game. He's averaging just 5 points or under 5 points per game, so for the big game for him, scoring. Stokes answers for Iowa. Greg Stokes gets his 5th basket. He and Gannon both in double figures now. 38-29.
Well, Olivier, you got to remember, you take 2 years off of playing basketball, you lose a little bit of your instinct, and you get a little rusty. He's having a pretty decent game there.
Bailey forcing that shot for SC. Stokes grabbing the rebound, and is fouled by Holmes, and that'll be 4 on Holmes.
Olivier is very clever inside, and as you can see from this shot, has a real nice touch. That's one of the toughest shots in basketball. That little baseline jumper. It's real tough to gauge exactly how far the basket is away, and he hits that one very nicely. You know, the other thing is, too, I think he's still rounded himself into shape. He's lost a little weight here recently. He's still got a little ways to go.
Michael Payne hits for Iowa.
You take a look at Stokes and Payne, and they contrast themselves quite a bit. Sometimes Payne, you'll think he's not in the game because Stokes is such an emotional player and so active. But over the course of 40 minutes, Payne does his job.
Foul called underneath the basket.
I think it's going to be on Cedric Bailey. It was called away from the action. I think Bailey was trying to cut off of the pick. Hansen stepped right in front of him and took the charge.
Well, somebody's face got in the way of Bailey's elbow the way things turned out, and Bailey has picked up his 3rd personal foul. 11-point lead for the Hawkeyes, which matches their biggest of the afternoon so far. Hansen off the side of the backboard. Carlander, good outlet pass. Down court to Jock Hill. Pull-up jumper. Ball not falling for SC. Here's the Iowa break. Carfino. Uh-oh. Look out. Carfino's first basket. Stan Morrison wants a timeout.
That's a good timeout.
Crowd on its feet here in Iowa City. That's his first bucket of the day.
It sure is, and you'll see the speed and strength that he has right here. It's very tough when you're running full speed to get off such a good, strong jump, plus the fact that he actually changed positions on his jump.
It's the Hawkeyes by 13 with 13:45 left to play.
First half, they never let the crowd really get into the game. They never permitted more than 2 baskets at a time. Iowa started to get a run right there. It was a good timeout by Stan Morrison. And now the key is run your offense till you get a real good shot. You like to get a basket right here.
Bailey can't get it working inside. Morrison thought a foul shouldn't have been called, but the officials say no, and Iowa's on the offense again.
Well, I think
Gannon getting inside position. Gets his own rebound. Puts it up a second time. Hawkeyes controlling the offensive board.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Frank, they really can do it all with those 5 people.
Here's Stokes. Carlander finally brings one down to Jock Hill. Holmes hits from the corner. Brad Holmes, 6'5" sophomore.
Somebody's on the floor here.
It's one of the big guys, matter of fact, Greg Stokes, who slipped and fell.
Now this is a great defensive play right here to begin with. A lot of pressure on the easy shot, but didn't slap at him and didn't commit the foul. Gannon once again stays with it. He got the ball back himself. Now when it gets tipped around, he went and retrieved it again.
There's Greg Stokes. He is limping very, very noticeably as he's being held off the floor. I think he slipped in a wet spot over there.
After the shot went in, I took my eyes off of the play. I don't really know what happened to him over there. But how many coaches would love to have a 6'8" forward with play with the intensity that Gannon does?
Here we go back to play. Steve Carfino brings it across the center line. Hansen on top to Gannon. Craig Anderson has come into the game, replacing Stokes, number 34. Payne with the jumper. Michael Payne with his 6th basket.
Boy, oh boy, is he smooth.
Gives him 12 points. He's over his season average, which was 9.2. He is more the finesse player, I would think, and Stokes is more the physical type guy.
Definitely. And like I say, you're going to have to, you won't notice his pain as much because Stokes makes his presence felt so much. But when at the end of the game, you watch the film, you look at the stats, Payne has done his job and done as well.
Bailey, beautiful 10-foot jumper.
Number 15, Cedric Bailey.
He's got to heat up. If USC is going to get back in this game, Cedric Bailey, who's averaged almost 13 points a game, 44-33. Iowa controls. Payne didn't see the pass coming, and it belonged to the Trojans.
I'm going to tell you what, I have never been blocked out more covering a game by coaches and officials than I have been today.
They're up and they're down and they're everywhere.
I think he heard me. He just moved.
SC in the front court. Carlander out on top to Holmes. Ripped out of the hands of Holmes. And Hansen will pick up the personal foul, I believe, or is it Banks?
It's going to be Gannon.
44.
It would occur to me that it will be so important now for USC to cash in on all of their opportunities. They can't miss easy shots that they missed in the first half. They've got to feel lucky in the game just by 11 points, having missed so many easy attempts. Obviously, Bailey would be a key to me, too. They need an outside shot every once in a while to pull the defense.
You know, Iowa's had a reputation, deserved other than not failing down the stretch the last 2 seasons. They held the lead last year in the Big Ten at 1 point.
Yeah, well, that's why I think, Frank, to me, the lack of a bench is going to work in their favor this year, because I think over the course of the season, these 5 starters know it's their responsibility to make this program a winner down the stretch. And somewhere along the lines, these guys are going to develop the confidence that when they get in the big game and have to make the basket, they'll do it.
Tie ball, and on the alternate possession rule, it belongs to SC.
And that looked like a shaky call to me. I don't know.
Just over 11 minutes left to play in the game. Iowa leading by a score 44-35. Here's the score of the other game. That game is about the 15-minute mark. And a very tight game being played in Syracuse. Foul called on Olivier.
Well, the contact continues inside. Olivier was trying to cut across the lane to the ball. All I did was see Olivier fall down. I don't know if he initiated the contact. I think at the end it was a push from, I don't know if it was Payne or who, but somebody pushed him and he fell down. I don't know who initiated the contact, however.
14 fouls on SC. Iowa has 3 here in the second half, so neither side close to the bonus at this point. Banks, the freshman, from Chicago, to Craig Anderson.
Maybe they do have a bench.
That wasn't bad, I'll tell you that. Anderson is a 6'7" junior. Played quite a bit in a reserve role and said to be a fine outside shooter.
Also, I don't know if you'll see him right there, playing defense right now. Nice shot. Andre Banks out of Chicago. Going to be a fine player. A lot of athletic skills. He was a forward in high school. Now moving to guard.
Well, he tried to fill the middle lane, which you're supposed to do right on the break, but didn't work out.
He's a smart player, goes to all the right places, a great competitor. He can really jump and foul. He paid for that one,
He certainly did. He took a pretty good shot, and he'll pick up the personal foul.
But he is going to be a good player. He needs the experience. The thing that he's got to learn right now, he's got to make the transition. There you see a lot of the leaping ability. There's a good foul call, but he's got to learn to shoot the ball from the outside now. That'll be the number 1 thing for him.
46-35. Iowa with the lead, SC with the ball. Carlander had the open shot for a moment, but they came in on him very quickly and intimidated him a bit. Payne comes up with it. Payne is 6 out of 7 from the field in this game. Michael Payne, last year, Big Ten Freshman of the Year. Anderson coming off the bench to provide some instant offense for the Iowa Hawkeyes with the foul problems and injury problem to Stokes. SC will use another timeout with 9 minutes and 37 seconds left to play in the game. Iowa leading 48-35. CBS coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this word from your local station. Of its starters in double figures, and that's just about par for the course. You know, you've grown up in the Big Ten, played in the Big Ten, live in this area. What do you think about the Big Ten race?
Well, I've said to some other people, I think it's Iowa and Indiana heads above the rest. Somebody is going to take a look at some of the balanced scoring. That's been the strength of the Iowa program for years. But, you know, some of the Big Ten teams aren't playing the real tough schedules this year. So it's hard to determine who's going to emerge as that number 3 club in the Big Ten. But I'm picking Iowa to win the whole thing.
The big hand is for Stokes, who has just come out of the locker room and is returning to the Iowa bench and getting a standing ovation. You know, again, talking to Lute Olson, he said the thing that made Stokes a better player was going against Payne in practice.
Well, they finally just sat down and told him that if he would try to outplay Payne every day in practice, that he would be able to see the payoff in game situations, and that's happening.
Hansen from deep in the corner, and Payne fouls Carlander. Michael Payne has just picked up his 4th personal foul. So Stokes on the bench with an injury, and now 4 fouls on Payne.
Frank, I think there's something else to talk about in the strategies of the two teams in this ball game and their preseason schedule. When you get your program to the top and strong like Iowa has, you can afford to play the UCLAs and what have you. USC, on the other hand, during the preseason, they like to feel that they're going to improve every single game, and that's what they've done so far this season. They're a team that you don't expect to play as well in December as you would in January and February.
Olivier has it ripped out of his hands. Carfino brings it down for the Iowa Hawkeyes, the floor leader, inside to Stokes.
I'd say he's all better.
He probably got a slight sprained ankle, and they went in and retaped it, and it didn't hurt his shot any.
Certainly did.
6 baskets for Stokes. 50-35. That's the biggest lead for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Jacques Hill penetrating inside.
And I think Stokes is the perfect example of the problem most freshmen have, Frank. They don't realize they come in generally as being the best player in their conference, maybe their region. They don't realize how hard they have to play to compete at a big-time major college level.
It's actually good strategy by Morris, and he can't really run with this team, so he's being deliberate. If SC had any kind of shooting percentage, they'd be very much in this game. Carlander hits from the free throw line. Wayne Carlander gets his 4th basket.
Well, I made the point in the first half, and I think it's a legitimate one. You can come in here, play well, and still get beat by 15 points. This is a Final Four caliber team.
Andre Banks, the freshman from Chicago, gets his first basket and builds it back to 15 again. 7:45 left to play in the game. Jacques Hill, guarded by Carfino. Pops the jumper over Carfino.
Jacques Hill.
Well, they need some individual one-on-one moves and baskets like that. You're not going to get score time after time down the floor trying to get it inside against the Iowa people.
Hansen outside. Hansen's pass is stolen. Here's Jacques Hill on the break. Lays it in.
The basket by Jacques Hill.
He made that basket, but that is so dangerous. There's absolutely no reason when you are on a breakaway layup to not put the ball against the board.
Even when you're going in the front door?
Even then. He had plenty of time to take a little bit of an angle and shoot and put it off the glass.
52-41. Anderson taking aim, doesn't take the shot. Oh, he can shoot it.
He can today. I don't know if he does that over the course of the year, but boy, oh boy.
54-41, 13-point lead for Iowa. But SC shooting percentage is picked up now, and they're matching them bucket for bucket. Olivier.
Well, you know, you've got Stokes is limping. He's not jumping like he was. Payne's got 4 fouls. Perhaps now they'll be able to move it inside.
Anderson missing, a lot of muscling underneath. And this time it will go against SC. Mike Bailey will pick up the foul.
Number 15, Cedric Bailey for Southern Cal.
For Cedric Bailey, his 4th.
And you see Payne coming back in for Stokes, and I got to believe the reasoning is 6 minutes to play. Payne playing with 4 fouls is probably more of a player right now than Stokes playing the way he's injured and limping.
Holmes, who added a spark to the USC offense in the first half, coming into the game, replacing Bailey. Gerry Wright, the freshman, is also back in there. 6:19 left to play, and Michael Payne is back into the contest. Iowa's leading scorer as a freshman, second team All Big Ten.
Hey, a basket here, and there is a 9-point ball.
This could be a big play. They're doing a good job defensively.
He dribbled that high, but he kept his hand on top of the ball.
Goaltending. Gerry Wright will get the basket on the goaltending call.
Frank, this is a close ball game. There you see. There you see the little jump. You know, Wright has got an 11-inch span and his hand size from thumb to little finger. You can see what a great advantage that is when you go up to shoot that little jump hook, which has really become the popular shot for the big man in the game of basketball.
Payne with the turnaround jumper.
Oh, McDonald had his hands on that ball and couldn't come away with the rebound.
Inside to Payne. Banks underneath his foul.
Boy, oh boy, this was a critical time down the floor for USC. They just let Iowa get 2 extra chances at the basket. They needed to rebound that very first miss, come down and score. I guess I'm a little surprised that when the ball has gone in to Payne, the USC defense has not collapsed at all. There you see Wright coming in a little bit late, but here you see Andre Banks with a tremendous leaping ability. He just went right around a defender. Nobody blocked him out.
Banks shooting 2. Freshman misses the first. 9 points. That's the difference between these two clubs.
Now,
and that's where we were at halftime.
They had better rebound this miss.
How did you know that he was going to miss it? Huh?
I don't know.
I mean, you jinxed the kid. 54-45. Big trip down the court here for the USC Trojans. Basket here could make it rather interesting.
It wasn't so much that I was predicting a miss. More, Frank, that for the 3rd time in a row, and especially off a missed free throw, to not get the rebound would just be demoralizing.
Ron Holmes with a big basket. Here come the Trojans now. They're down by 7. 54-47 as Olivier gets set to come back into the game. Clayton Olivier, the 6'10 sophomore, replaces Gerry Wright. 5 minutes, 10 seconds remaining. Good move inside here by Holmes.
When you take a look at it, this is the cross-court pass. Let's see.
We'll get to it, right?
All right. That cross-court pass right there, the initial has become the popular one against the zone. And then you see he got it and flicked it right back inside. So often the pass is just as important as the shot.
Meanwhile, coming back to live action, the foul was on Olivier on the other end of the court for USC. And now Iowa will benefit from the bonus the rest of the way. That's the 7th team foul against SC. Iowa has fouled 5 times, so SC is 2 fouls away from the bonus. Payne on the free throw line.
Where he only shoots 88%.
88%.
Yeah, 23 for 26 coming into today.
Not bad for a guy 6'11".
But uncharacteristically, he shoots 40% from the field, Frank. And it's a direct relationship to his lack of strength in the Big Ten and really in everywhere around the country now. They play physical inside. Sometimes Payne will get bumped inside and not concentrate and miss the easy shot. That's what's happened to him so far this season as he shoots just 40%, 17 for 42.
Iowa as a team is 6 out of 8 from the free throw line. And the lead is back to 9 at 56-47. Olivier outside to Jock Hill, who's gone all the way. It's a big miss. Gannon with the rebound. And Carfino starts down court for the Iowa Hawkeyes with 4.5 minutes to go. Hansen going inside. Stokes. Greg Stokes gets his 7th. Gives him 14 points. There's the way the field goal shooting is gone.
Well, obviously, USC at 68%, they've kept themselves in this ball game.
Nice dish off to Olivier. Has it knocked out of his hands, but they say that Hansen was standing, or the Gannon was standing on the out-of-bounds line. So it'll go to SC.
So important to be able to get that ball up on the board as soon as you get it underneath. That time, Olivier, watch. He tries to, see, he bends his knees, and he's going to go up for a big jump. He should have got that ball and went, boom, directly to the board.
Holmes missing his shot. Payne rebounding. Carlin's fouled by SC.
Carlander picked up the foul. At this point, you know, at this point in the game, every once in a while, you've got to take a chance, stick a hand in there, and see if you can flick the ball away from an Iowa defensive rebounder.
SC, of course, will go back home and finally get to play at home some after playing 5 of their first 6 games on the road. They've got a big Christmas tournament they played, which I think Georgetown's one of the teams entered.
You know, they have some tough teams in their Christmas tournaments. A couple years ago, they had Minnesota and North Carolina. They don't give themselves an easy way to go with that Winston Tire Classic.
59-47, and that makes it 60-47. And Michael Payne has 16 points to lead all scores. 4 minutes left to play in the game.
We talk about the home court advantage. The Missouri Ball Club is going to play 12 of their first 14 games at home.
Holmes doing an excellent job on the offensive boards. Well, the USC Trojans gives him 12 points in the afternoon. One of his better offensive days of the year. 60-49. SC not giving up. Carfino almost threw it away. Hansen saved it. Stokes at the free throw line. Inside to Payne. Goes with the right-handed hook. Carlander takes it off the glass. Hill on the drive. Picks it up with the left hand.
He's going to get fouled by Gannon. Hill did a great thing right here. Went up for the shot. Knew it was going to get blocked, but he completed the idea. Threw the ball with his left hand and stayed right with it. When he got the offensive rebound, Gannon fouled him from behind.
Timeout with 3 minutes and 19 seconds left to play, and Iowa with an 11-point lead. And depending how this game goes and how that game goes, we may be switching to Syracuse at the conclusion of this game to bring you the end of that one.
But when you take a look at Syracuse, Frank, no better example of what experience does for you. They've got a lot of people returning, and although Houston is ranked above them, they've lost their backcourt, no experience in the backcourt. They go into somebody else's building, everybody returning. The experience factor, so important in college basketball.
Gannon of Iowa has pulled down 13 rebounds so far. Kind of a quiet rebounder. He's always in there, gets his share. SC with the ball. They trail by 11. Just over 3 minutes left to play. They need points. They need him in a hurry. McDonald missing the shot underneath. Carfino roaring down court. Blocking foul called on Jack Hill.
Well, this will be, I don't know if we'll get a chance to see it. You know, I don't like this play. I just think it should not be allowed. Stokes not even in the play. Hill just stops right in front of him and tries to draw a charge. Under the existing rules, it's, you know, a good play, but I just don't like to see it.
Michael Payne 4 of 4 from the line. 16 points. And the Iowa lead remains at 11 as SC gets it down quickly. Hill walked.
Well, McDonald got away with one. They got Hill.
Now, you talked about the Big Ten. How about that Pac-10 race? What do you think SC is going to figure there?
Well, after today's performance, I'd say they're going to do pretty well. You know, Stokes picked by most people as third with Ken Johnson, but you know, like we said, they've continually improved. They're really playing well here today, and I still look for third or fourth.
Iowa with what now looks like a comfortable 13-point lead with 2 minutes, 37 seconds left to play. Timeout. 2 minutes, 37 seconds remaining, and that is Hayden Fry, the head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes football team that is bound for the Peach Bowl, which you will see on CBS come December 31st.
And talking about Big Ten football, Frank, your alma mater
stick with Dennis Gray, man and fine football coach.
Well, I think they're headed for their best basketball season, too.
Yeah, they're off to a 5-0 start. Bailey on the free throw line. We got to pick our most valuable player here in a moment, so start thinking about that.
Well, it's going to be the first time I've thought about it. I'll tell you what, I've never seen so much action on a made free throw. They are really going at it inside.
A lot of people winding up on the floor for one reason or another. Bailey, who's averaged almost 13 points a game, has been held to 7. Couldn't get the outside shot working in the first half when USC hit just 28% from the field.
Well, you got to believe USC is going to come with full court pressure.
11-point lead for the Hawkeyes. 2.5 minutes to go. And Bailey taking a swipe. That time at Bob Hansen. And that may be it.
Well, you take a look at the...
That's 5 on him.
Yeah. Frank, to take a look at the free throw percentages for the Iowa Hawkeye players. And Stokes is about the only player you can foul and think that he's going to miss when he goes to the line. Shoots 60% on the year. Hansen's at 72. Carfino 61.5. Gannon at 72. Banks had made them all coming into this game.
I've got it down to, I think, Payne and Stokes for my MVP. Which
one or the other?
Well, pick one.
Well, let me see that.
Payne has got 16 points. Stokes has got 16 points.
I'll be honest with you. I think they've been a 1-2 combination. I think we should split it myself.
Can we do that?
I guess we'll have to ask the producer. Boy, does it kill me to have to do that.
The producer says Stokes. So Stokes it will be. Greg Stokes. Once again, SC turns it over with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to play. 13-point lead for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Denard comes into the game. Gerry Denard, a 6'9" senior. Greg Stokes comes out of the game. Another fine performance by this outstanding sophomore.
Well, I don't think that he's coming in because Iowa feels like this game's over. But with a bad ankle, no reason to risk a serious injury.
Hansen, 6'6", excellent ball handler, said to be a fine pro prospect. Payne from outside.
Oh, boy, this is a mistake. Denard comes into the game and fouls immediately on the rebound. That stops the clock, gives USC a chance to score 2 points with no time running on.
Going to the free throw line. Has 12 points. 2 out of 2 from the free throw line. Bonus situation. He makes the first. He gets a second. What's the best game you ever had here?
Believe it or not, it was my freshman year. I had 28 points here. I always played well here. They really hated me.
It's all downhill after that, huh?
I couldn't match that performance. But I used to love to play here.
However, I know we have a man sitting to our left who scored 36 against you. The Chevrolet player of the game for today's game, Greg Stokes of Iowa. And Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to be shared equally by the general scholarship funds of both schools to assist students in all academic fields.
See, now this is what happens when you put on the full court pressure. You forced they forced Iowa into an offensive situation. Denard got the ball on the baseline, the natural position to shoot. He did. The ball gets blocked. We're headed back the other way. A good no call by the officials here. I believe that pass hit Hansen in the foot. in general, we'll call that kicking, but kicking by the rules is only an intentional kick, not if somebody throws it off your foot.
Boy, SC is not giving up. 64-59. They're down by 9, but we've only got a minute and a half left.
Well, they're going to, I'm sure they'll play pressure defense, try to come up with a steal. Eventually, they'll have to foul.
Cedric Ron Holmes will pick up the personal foul. That's, well, 4 on him.
You see the two coaches matched up, I believe, for the first time.
That's right. Stan Morrison, in his 4th year, used to be at the University of Pacific and has done an outstanding job in rebuilding the SC basketball program. Coached for 7 years at the Pacific.
Let me tell you, Hansen just barely hit the rim that time. Oh, boy.
He'll throw. That could have been a big bucket.
Oh, what an opportunity. That was a layup right there in a 7-point game with 1:20 to play.
It's also the 13th turnover in the basketball game for the SC Trojans. 9-point lead with 1:20 left. Denard inbounding to Payne. Full court pressure applied by SC. Garfino gets it across the center line. Olson has his guys working on weightlifting quite a bit.
Denard's got the ball. They've got to foul him. When he comes in, he's just got into the game. You've got to foul him.
Down to the 1-minute mark.
Let me tell you, Denard and Carland are really going at it. Technical, and they threw somebody out of the game here.
Gerry Wright. Technical foul on Gerry Wright, and they threw him out of the game. The freshman for USC. A lot of elbowing, jostling going on away from the ball, and Stan Morrison trying to calm the freshman down a little bit.
Very easy right now for everybody to put the blame on this young fellow right here, but we did not see exactly what went on. I don't know if we've got it on the replay. I think he's telling somebody right now that it was probably an elbow to his...
There's on the left of your screen here. There's
that was the tail end of it right there. I think he probably elbowed Carfino right there. You see it. Now, I don't know what happened before that. Let's see if we can find out. Carfino's 15.
There's he and Carfino really
Right
going
there.
in, and he gives him the elbow
Yeah,
to the chops.
Carfino merely set a pick. Now, let me tell you that that could have been bad. He actually just put a forearm into him. He didn't really throw a real flagrant elbow, which can cause a lot of damage. However, it was unnecessary, and the officials, I think, made a good decision.
Now, why all the discussion going on since we've got it figured out?
I don't know. There's so many people standing up right now.
Well, Carfino
blocking my view again.
Carfino's ready, taking one technical foul free throw. Now I think they're going to give him a second for the intentional.
Well, it would be a 2-shot foul as an intentional foul. Now, the only other thing they could have done is called it, I guess it's probably a technical foul for 1 shot plus an intentional personal foul with 2 shots.
Replacing Michael Payne in foul lineup number 14, Andre Banks.
In which case, Carfino would have one more coming.
And he would shoot the technical first and then shoot the personal second.
Yeah, that's what's...
42 goal, and he's gone. And then after the technical, the ball belongs out of bounds to goal.
Well,
yeah, because the last foul was a technical foul.
all right, that's the referee explaining the situation. Phil Robinson from Midlothian, Illinois. They also called a technical foul on Greg Payne and threw him out of the game.
On Payne?
That's what he said, 42. I mean, on Michael Payne. Well, here's Carfino. Now he gets 1 on the personal foul and then 2 technical fouls.
They call a technical on Payne and threw him out.
Michael Payne has been charged with a technical and has been ejected from the game.
I didn't even see Payne get it.
Carfino's shooting again. What's going on here? No, it's...
Shooting number 32.
I think what...
A 2-shot technical.
Right. Carfino went back to the line and tried to get a couple more free throws out of it.
Now here's Ron Holmes with a 2-shot technical for SC. So we had a double technical and both players ejected. How much of an advantage is this crowd?
You know, home hard-court crowds in general will help the home team play better. They don't intimidate the visiting team very often.
Iowa will have the ball out of bounds with an 11-point lead with 59 seconds to go. Okay, here's the replay
Let's
again.
see if we can...
Now, Payne said something to the official. He said, "You're out, too." So Payne got his technical for saying something to the official.
I'd say he probably got more than just 2 cents worth in whatever he said. You've got to be pretty mean to say something and get thrown out of the game.
Iowa with an 11-point lead and just running the clock down at this point.
Well, and they fouled Denard as soon as he got the ball.
Foul is on Troy Lamar, who has just come into the game, number 24.
Well, I think USC was lucky that they did not get a 2-shot foul called against them. Anytime you foul away from the ball, it's an automatic 2-shot intentional foul. Denard had the ball. All you have to do is make a small attempt and look like you're trying to get the ball. Now, the USC people just grabbed him, so they could have made a case for calling an intentional 2-shot foul.
Garlander with the good outlet pass down court to Ron Holmes, trying to get around Carfino, and Carfino slapped the ball out of bounds. SC's ball with 39 seconds.
I thought right there Holmes had a big enough head of steam going that he may have tried to go around Carfino and try to draw a foul on a drive to the basket. I thought that's what he should have done anyway.
Lamar passing off to Holmes, charging on Holmes. And that should be 5 on Holmes. I would say this thing is deteriorating rather rapidly. Iowa, in case you joined us late, took the lead at the outset. Had a 9-point lead at halftime. And have never really been able to storm away, though they did get it out to 13 points. And it's held at about the 7 or 8 to 12, 13-point range throughout the second half.
I really believe that USC is going to be very pleased with their performance today, regardless of the final score.
Saw Kevin Stewart come into the game for SC. Garlander knocked that one out of bounds. Garlander was a starter last year as a freshman for Stan Morrison.
Well, you can, if you take a look around the court now, you can see the ball handlers are in the game for Iowa.
Hansen puts up the 6-foot jumper. Hustles and gets his own rebound. 15 seconds to go.
It surprises me a little bit that he took the shot, but with 21 seconds, they've got this game under control.
Denard to Hansen. Hansen drives. That is foul. Foul will go against Kevin Stewart, who has just come into the game. Lute Olson safely has his 6th victory of the year against no losses, and has got a load next week. But he travels to Los Angeles to face UCLA.
What a game that should be. UCLA really goes onto the court every time with the 5 best athletes. That doesn't always win the game for you. But
psychologically, you know, the fact that they can get back into the tournament this year has to certainly work in UCLA's favor. Hansen on the free throw line, missing both, follows with 2 seconds to go, and there's the buzzer. And appropriately, we wind up with a couple players on the floor.
Isn't that the truth?
It's been the way it's been all afternoon. Iowa Hawkeyes now 6-0, and the USC Trojans will go to 3-3 on the season, as Iowa pulls off a 66-55 victory in what turns out to be a very physical basketball game. Berkey the Hawkeye obviously enjoying it a great deal. That's it. From Iowa City, Frank Weaver, along with Steve Brody, saying so long now to Brent Musburger in New York.